Cowboy Carter, time to strike a match and light up this juke joint.
The horses of South Korea are booked and busy when a K-pop group takes on a Western-adjacent concept. I wonder if there's a horse idol agency, or if they just pull them out from ranches wherever they go. How do K-pop companies source their horses? I'm noticing that. I'm wondering about that. Like, how do you get a horse into Seoul, is my question. I don't know, because this ain't Busan. Ain't no Holden. I'm pretty sure this was Italy, actually. This ain't Tuscany. At this point in their career, IVE is my group of choice when I want to show people what K-pop groups can do in terms of concept work. I really believe that is one of their greatest markers of distinction. Not many groups can pull off half the things IVE has done conceptually, certainly not to the level of dedication and craft that they do. Off the record, right? I don't need to say much more than that. We can say a lot of things about Starship, and do, but the focus on concept work is a godsend in K-pop today. In the case of IVE, I think that's primarily because of the members' involvement. Wonyoung in particular has such a critical eye when it comes to choosing and writing work that best represents this group. It's obvious there's been a growing rift in the general fanbase of people who miss the original styles of IVE, that first year or so leading up to and including their first full album that exuded pristine styles and aesthetics. There was a flair of wealth and class and pompousness that was really thrown off a cliff with the following IVE Mine album of late 2023. Their original aesthetic was traded in favor of something a lot more nuanced. The surface of their work beyond that point hasn't been as smooth. There's a lot of texture to what IVE does. While this may have come at the cost of much broader global appeal, I think their trajectory has allowed IVE to gain a lot more respect in ways that matter. I mean, a song that was made in a cute likeness to their debut year's capstone single just won a Grammy, and yet IVE are still pressing forward in new and innovative ways. It's antithetical to the grossly commercial practices we've seen within K-pop recently, and really, just within the past couple of months, has begun to run stagnant in terms of global appeal. Overly polished aesthetics are received horribly in the global marketplace. IVE's commitment to concept and presentation has landed them way ahead of the curve in this regard, and member involvement alone will take them insanely far in the years ahead. This kind of leads us to Bang Bang, the first single released ahead of the group's second full-length album. As usual with IVE, it's hard to gauge whether or not this song will represent what's to come. What I really appreciate about Bang Bang is how well it blends different vibes and aesthetics in such a seamless way. It's a bit hybridized, integrating EDM music structures with very cinematic, Western-tinged yee-haw instrumentation. Guttural guitar chords punctuate the arrangement, introducing tension and a signature that evokes imagery of open landscapes and dramatic, cowboy-esque showdowns in the Mojave Desert. Thumping 4-on-the-floor kicks on every beat translate unadulterated focus on the target. IVE, as our narrators, are quick to implicate you in all of this. We're met with a group of 6 people on the run. They're wanted for something, a hefty bounty on their heads, but we're not given much information as to what this is all about. All we know is that they're on the run, and if they're caught, they'll be going out with a bang. The musical builds in this song are notably measured with this in mind. You know, the pistol guns in our holsters aren't drawn just yet. Cowboy hats are on, but the opposition isn't yet on our trail, so we do have some time to think and form a plan. I guess as a result of that, rather than chasing a maximalist chorus or an overly dramatic switch, Bang Bang relies a lot on repetition and tonal attitude to carry its momentum. I think this works in IVE's favor conceptually. The song isn't really asking the listener to be surprised about anything, really only to be convinced about what is to come. I may be on the run right now, but if you somehow catch up to me, I'll be going out with a bang, shaking my head. The refrains in this song and their tendency to run completely empty of vocal moments in order to let the guitar twang along gives a rough-edged, kind of sinister cowboy vibe to this song. This kind of building restraint also exposes what I think may be the song's potential weakness for a lot of people. Bang Bang feels more like a maintenance release rather than a musical moment in its own right. The hooks are serviceable, but on first impression not especially sticky, and the production doesn't introduce any new textures that meaningfully distinguish it from the group's earlier work. If you're already invested in IVE's sound, I think this song lands pretty comfortably. I compare it not maliciously to Supernova by aespa. Impending doom is upon us, right? The Armageddon is coming, and Supernova was released ahead of this album to warn us of that. I wonder if Bang Bang is working to signal something similar up ahead, and how well this song is going to connect to the full album it's a part of. Maybe this is a prelude to an actual full-forced standoff up ahead. Vocally, however, this song is insane. Every member rises to the occasion to deliver something so surprising, genuinely. Ray is such a good rapper. That was the main takeaway for me on first listen. Her spot opening the second verse and trading it off to Gao is easily the best part of the song. With such, I don't know, vivaciousness, with such aggression, she tonally matches the stronghold grip that thumping club beat has over this song's foundation. She beats it out in an arm wrestle in what feels like under 5 seconds. This song is smart about its composition, knowing what members to use and when to deliver an extra push of force. Yujin in the chorus doesn't even sound like herself for a moment in her overly aggressive delivery. It works so insanely well. And I think that is the main takeaway for me on first impression. IVE is able to use vocal tones to really capture the essence of storytelling within these more Western-minded aesthetics. That brief and forceful surge into the chorus, and the sudden lower delivery of shaking my head, almost muttered under breath, saves us from a bit of a narrative crisis, working overtime to justify the use of the habitual B. I be going out with a bang, right? Going out with a bang implies finality. The habitual B normally wouldn't work for a phrase like this, but there is just barely enough lyrical scaffolding to justify that IVE usually goes out with a bang, right? This has become a habit for them, being wanted and taking out the opposition. We can tell by way of how they already know how to account for what happens when they do go out with a bang, simply shaking their heads at the fools who were dumb enough to try and collect the bounty. Overall, Bang Bang is so great at what it does. I definitely think my perspective will change on this depending on how the rest of the album rolls out. Given there's going to be member solo tracks, I'm guessing it might be a mixed bag of genres and concepts up ahead to some extent, right? For now, the song is great, but more than it being great, it feels intentional. IVE continues to move with such sharp awareness of the industry around them, working to absorb trends without being swallowed by them. That is the key to success that K-pop seems to have forgotten in the past couple of years. Bang Bang takes on its twangy, Western-leaning guitar chords and reframes them through IVE's own identity. And that is where the song truly shines, the vocal tones of each member. The chords, of course, set the scene, but it's the voices that sell this narrative. They sound like they know what they're doing, which is a luxury we're not always afforded on kpop.com. They're obviously aware of the concept well enough to be able to interpret it through their own perspective as artists. There's cowboy grit, and then sudden playful draws. All of it leans into a kind of comical Western showdown aesthetic without feeling overly cheesy about it. This is what elevates Bang Bang, to me. Very, very excellent. Thank you for watching this. If you did, let me know what you think about Bang Bang, its concept, the narrative, IVE's delivery, and things like that. Yeah, thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.